All right, homework day 4, introductory algebra, starting out with decimal place values. On here, they're going to just have a couple numbers in front of the decimal and a couple behind. But when we do the ones in front of the decimal, we've got the ones, the tens, the next would be the hundreds. When you do the ones after the decimal, you don't have a ones place. It starts with the tenths place. So think about those ones after the decimal as having just 1 0. 10 tenths. 100 is 2 places after the decimal, tenths, hundredths. So the ones that end in just a plain S are in front of the decimal. The ones that end with THS are after the decimal. So in the 1 spot, that's the first number in front of the decimal, the number 4. The 10th spot, I think of the number 10, it has 1 0, so 1 place after the decimal is the number 5. On number 2, give the digits in the tens and the tenths place. So the tens place is in front of the decimal. Ones, tens, that's the 1 and the 12. And then the tenths, again, thinking of the number 10, has 1 0. It's 1 place after the decimal. The 3 is in the tenths spot. Give the digits in the tens and the hundredths place. So again, the tens is in front of the decimal, the 6 is in the ones, the 9 is in the tens. The hundredths, 100 has 2 zeros, the hundredths will be 2 places after the decimal. Tenths, hundredths, so the 3 is in my hundredth spot. And the reason we need to know the place value is because sometimes it will tell you round to the nearest tenth, and you need to know which number you're going to round to. So on the next ones, we're going to round decimals. Round to the nearest hundredth. First thing I'm going to do is pick the value in that place. So the 7 is in the hundredth spot. So I'm either going to have 0.57, leaving the number in the hundredth spot and just ignoring that one behind it, or I might have to round it up by 1. If I round 57 up by 1, I'd have 58, so 0.58. What I'm going to do is look at the number after the hundredth spot, so this 8. If it is less than 5, I use the plain number. If it's more than 5, that's when I have to round it up by 1. In this case, 8's more than 5, so 0.58 would be rounding it to the nearest hundredth. Number 5 says round to the nearest whole number. 9 is the nearest whole number. When they say round to the nearest whole number, they say round to the ones place. So the nearest whole number, 9 is in the ones place. If I round 9 up by 1, I would round it up to 10. So I look at the number behind that. The numbers 5 or greater, which means I have to round it up. If it was less than 5, I'd leave it alone. The next one, round to the nearest tenth. Shouldn't have that S on the end. Round to the nearest tenth. 7 is in the tenth spot. So do I leave it 4.7 or should I round it up by 1 and use 4.8? I look. 6 again is 5 or higher. I have to round it up to 4.8. If they didn't give me any, I wouldn't have to round. But if I had 0.342 and I said round to the nearest tenth. 3 is in the tenth spot. So do I leave it 0.3 or do I round it up by 1, 0.4? 4 is less than 5, so I'm going to leave this one alone. 0.3 would be rounding it to the nearest tenth. So if the number behind it is more than 5 or 5 or higher, I round it up. If it's less than 5, I leave it alone. Converting decimals to a proper fraction in simplest form. So, same thing here. I need to know what place value I end with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the number, in this case 0.24. I'm going to write it as 24 without that decimal. And then I'm thinking about what place does it end in? Tenths, hundredths. So a 1 with 2 zeros because it ends 2 places after the decimal. And so 24 hundredths is my fraction, but I want it in simplest form, so I have to reduce. If I divide by 2, half of 24 is 12, half of 100 is 50. I can reduce that again. Divide by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 50 divided by 2 is 25. So 6 over 25 would be my fraction in simplest form. And if I grab my calculator here quick, if I have a decimal number on my calculator, I'm going to type in 0.24 and hit equals. 0.24 shows up again on my calculator. To change a decimal to a fraction, I'm going to use Shift and the fraction key, which is the one that says ABC on it. Shift and the fraction on my calculator screen shows 6/25. So number 8, if I want to write that as a fraction in simplest form, again, I could ignore the zeros. I have the number 56 without the decimal, and then I'm going to have a 1, and I have tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 3 places after the decimal, so 56 thousandths. Again, both of those are even, so I can divide by 2. 56 divided by 2 is 28. 1,000 divided by 2 would be 500. Again, I can divide by 2. 28 divided by 2 is 14. 500 divided by 2 is 250. Again, they're both even. I can divide by 2. Half of 14 is 7. Half of 250 is 125. Can't reduce that down any farther, so 7 over 125. So again, with my calculator, 0.056. Hit equals. It'll show the decimal. Shift and the fraction, and 7 over 125 is what you should get on your calculator. And number 9, 9.95 as a fraction would be 95, and then tenths, hundredths, 1 with 2 zeros, 2 places after the decimal is the hundredth spot. Here I can divide by 5 because I end in 5s and zeros. 95 divided by 5 is 19. 100 divided by 5 is 20. So 0.95 is 19/20ths as a fraction. All right. Now the word problems, I think most of the time your calculator is active. They're just really trying to check to see if you know, should I be adding, subtracting, what should I be doing? Karen ran 3 times last week. Here are the distances she ran in kilometers: 15, 7.77, 18.19. What is the total distance Karen ran on these 3 days? So if I'm going to find the total, what do I normally do? We just add them all together, right? That's all it's saying to do. So you're going to do 15 plus 7.77 plus 18.19. If you have to do that without your calculator, you would want to line the decimals up. So you probably really want to write it as 15.00, so it has the same number of decimals as the other ones. 7.77 and 18.19. And then I can add them once I have them all lined up nice and neat with my decimals straight up in a row there. So 7 plus 9, 16, carry my 1, so I have 1 plus 7 plus 1, 9, bring down my decimal, 5 plus 7 plus 8, 20, there we go. Carry my 2, and then 2 plus 1 plus 1. 4, right? 40.96. So Jenny filled her gas tank 3 times last week. Here are the amounts of gas she bought in gallons. 15, 11.6, and 2.7. We want to find the total, so we're going to take the 15. I'm going to add 0.0, 11.6, and 2.7, and we're going to add those together. So 6 plus 7? 13, carry my 1, so I have 1 plus 5 plus 1 plus 2. 9. And then 1 plus 1, 2. 29.3. Lisa bought 4 books at the bookstore. Here are their prices in dollars. 9.4, 12.2, 10, and $6.21, which is only the real normal way to write those. $9.40, $12.20, $10 even, and $6.21. Go ahead and add those together. Now again, probably on Alex, the calculator might be active on the word problem, but it's always good to practice paper pencil, and if you want to check it with your calculator, go ahead and do that. And what we get for a total? $37.81. Everybody get that? Okay, then I'll assume it's right. I didn't have it. Then we have some more word problems, because everybody likes word problems. It says, Ivan cut away 67 centimeters of a rope. Before that, he had 805.44 centimeters of rope. How much rope does Ivan have? So we cut away pieces. We're going to subtract. And so if I have 805.44 and I'm going to subtract 67, again, I would add my extra zeros so they line up all nice and neat, just like when I add. Then I can go ahead and do my subtraction. 4 minus 0 is 4. 4 minus 0 is 4. Bring down my decimal. Here I can't take 7 away from 5, so I end up borrowing, but I can't borrow from 0, so I have to go way over here and say, okay, this is 7. That makes that a 10. But I got to borrow, so that's going to be 9 and make that 15, right?
So can you just borrow from the 80 and do a 79?
Exactly. Ends up being the same thing, right?
Yeah.
So 15 minus 7, she said, was 8. 9 minus 6 we know is 3, and then I have 7. So 738.44 centimeters. What was that?
Subtraction.
Sun, Nash, I gotta check my typer. Where'd she type subtraction at?
Right under references and mailings. Where it says,
Oh, up here.
yeah.
I didn't check all her note sheets. I just printed them. Jose wants to burn a total of 500 calories. So far, he's burned 274.9 calories. How many more calories must Jose burn? So, of course, when you're doing it on Alex, when you get to the assessment, it's not going to tell you to subtract, but hopefully you know that I want to do 500. I've done 274.9, so I'm going to have to do subtraction, right? So this one here has a whole lot of borrowing. Or we're going to change 500 to what?
499.
499 point. And that last one's going to be a 10, right?
Oh, okay.
Because I borrowed 1, but it's in tenths. 10 minus 9 is 1. 9 minus 4 is 5. 9 minus 7 is 2. And 4 minus 2 is 2. So 225.1. Amy so far has driven 4.4 miles. She needs to drive 14 miles. How many more must she drive? So again, we're going to take 14 and subtract 4.4. Go ahead and do that on your paper. Tell me what you get for an answer. She's whispering. 9.6. Everybody got 9.6? Multiplying. Now when I multiply, I'm not going to do anything with my decimal until I get to the very end. I'm going to multiply it just like I would with whole numbers and just go ahead and multiply. 6 times 2 is 12. I'm going to carry my 1. 6 times 5 is 30 plus my 1 is 31, so carry my 3. 6 times 5 is 30 plus my 3 is 33. I then decide where to put my decimal by counting from the end. How many places from the end is the decimal? It's 1, 2 places. So here it's going to be 1, 2 places, and so I'm going to have 33.12. Most of you probably on your assessments just grabbed your calculator and punched it in, so you might not have it on your pie chart, but that's how we do it with our calculator. So here on 17, if we multiply, 5 times 5, 25, 5 times 6 plus my 2, 32, and 5 times 3 plus my 3, 18. And how many places from the end do I move my decimal? Just 1. So 182.5 is going to be my answer. If we multiply on number 18, 7 times 7, 49. 7 times 6 plus my 4, 46. You guys are whispering. 7 times 5 plus 4, 39. You know I'm old, you got to talk louder. And I'm going to move my decimal 2 places from the end, so 39.69. Same thing on 19, 20, and 21. Most likely on the assessment you grabbed your calculator, but for fun we're going to do it the long way. So first of all, we're going to multiply it kind of like we do without any decimals in there. So we're going to start with the 8 and multiply it by 519. So 8 times 9 is 72. So 8 times 1 is 8 plus 7 would be 15. 8 times 5 is 40 plus my 1 is 41. Now normally when I move to the next one over, I'm moving to the tens digit, so we add that 0 in there for a placeholder, and then we multiply the 4 times everything up there. So 4 times 9 is 36, carry my 3. 4 times 1 is 4, plus my 3 is 7. 4 times 5 is 20. And then I add 2, 11, 7, 8, 9, 4, and 2. Now I'm going to count on both my numbers. On the top one it's 2 from the end, on the bottom one it's 2 from the end, so on my answer I'm going to go 4 from the end. 2.4912. 5.19 times 0.48 is 2.4912. Hey, we got the right answer. Number 20 then. If I multiply by the 9. 9 times 8? 72. Bring my 7, but then I got 9 times 0, so that 7's going to come down anyway. 9 times 2. 18. When I move over and multiply by the 5, I'm going to add that 0 under the 2, since that's over in the next spot. And then I'm going to multiply by 5. 5 times 8, 40. 5 times 0 plus 4 is my 4. And 5 times 2 is 10. So I'm going to have 2, 7, that'd be 12, 2, 1, right? And how far from the end is my decimal going to be?
No, 3.
3, because it's 1 on top and 2 on the bottom, so a total of 3. 12.272. Go ahead there. We're going to multiply on number 21. So 7 times 6. 42. Carry my 4. 7 times 4 plus my 4. 32, right? Carry my 3. 7 times 8 plus my 3. So 59. Again, we're going to move over to the 6, so we're going to add a 0 underneath that 2 and then multiply by our 6's. So 6 times 6. 36. And then 6 times 4 plus my 3. 27. Carry my 2, so 6 times 8 plus my 2. Hmm. 6 times 8 is 48 plus 2, 50. So 2, 8, 16, 6, and 5, huh? And how many decimals would I move it from the end? 4. So 5.6682. Now, the next ones are multiplying by a power of 10. We could do it the same way we did the previous ones, but it'd just be a whole lot of work for our stuff. There's a shortcut. Our number system is in powers of 10. So when I multiply by a power of 10, I move the decimal to the right, the same number of places as zeros as my 100 or 1,000 or whatever it is. So in this case, 100 has 2 zeros. If I wrote it with an exponent, 100 is 10 to the second power, 10 times 10. So I'm going to just move my decimal 2 places to the right. So I'm going to move them over 2, and I'm going to say it's 44.5. Whole lot easier than doing all that long multiplication like I did on the previous problem, right? So on number 23, 1,000 would be 10 to the third power because 1,000 has 3 zeros on it. So it tells me I'm going to move my decimal 3 places to the right, and if I move it over 3 places, 1, 2, 3, it ends up right on the end, right? 3,598 is going to be my answer then. So on number 24, if I'm going to multiply by 10, how many places should I move my decimal? If I'm going to multiply by 10? No, just 1. Right? 10 just has 1 0 on it. So it's going to be 9.16, exactly. So 10 has 1 0, I just move it once. And then we get to some more word problems. These ones I'm fairly sure that your calculator is active because these are longer ones. Donna is buying ribbon for wrapping presents. A large present requires 7.75 feet of ribbon. A medium present requires 6.25 feet. And a small present requires 2.25 feet. Donna is wrapping 9 large presents, 10 medium presents, and 1 small present. How much ribbon will she need? So, if I'm going to wrap 9 large presents and I'm trying to figure out how much ribbon I need, I would have to take 7.75 times 9, right? Go ahead, use your calculator and multiply that out. Because I'm pretty sure the calculator is active on these ones. They're just seeing if you know if you should multiply and add and all that good stuff. So 7.75 times 9 gives me what? 69.25? 75, see? 69.75, there we go. Then we are going to do 10 medium presents. Well, the medium one we could probably do without our calculator, because if I take it times 10, what do I do with my decimal?
Move it once.
Move it one place, so I'm going to get 62.5, right? And then I'm just going to do one small present. Small one's 2.25, right? And now I need to add all of those together. So go ahead with your calculator, or if you want to do it on your paper, add those together. 134.5. Now what everybody else is getting? Alrighty. Number 26 says, a phone company charges each customer a monthly fee of $11.25. In addition, it charges 3 cents per minute for in-state calls and 9 cents per minute for out-of-state calls. What is the total amount or total monthly charge for a customer who made 430 minutes of in-state calls and 93 minutes of out-of-state calls? So we know we have to pay $11.25. That's the monthly fee. We pay it whether we make a phone call or not. We're going to make some in-state calls. Yep, 430 minutes at 3 cents per minute. It's a time sign almost. So if we take 430 times 3 cents, go ahead and use your calculator, unless you already did it on your paper. We get $12.90. Everybody getting that? Okay. Then we're going to make 93 minutes of out-of-state calls, and the out-of-state calls are going to cost me a little more, 9 cents a minute. So if I take 93 times 9 cents, $8.37. So now I want to figure out what my total monthly charge is. So I'm going to take the $11.25 monthly fee plus my $12.90 that I had to do for in-state calls plus my $8.37 that I made on out-of-state calls. So if I add all those together, $32 and how many cents?
52.
52. Everybody getting that?
Yep.
Good. Because I didn't add. And the last one. Ice cream company is going to open a new store in San Diego, Chicago, and Orlando. The monthly cost for a square foot of rental space in each city is as follows. So I'm going to pay $5.50 for each square foot in San Diego, $6.95 in Chicago, and $4.50 in Orlando. The store in San Diego is 540 square feet. I have to multiply it by $5.50 a square foot. Chicago is going to be 330, and I'm going to pay $6.95 per square foot. And in Orlando, 455, and we're going to pay $4.50 per square foot. Go ahead, use your calculator to multiply those. If you really want to do it on your paper. 540 times $5.50. $2,170?
900.
970. Came out even, huh? 2,970. 330 times 695. $93 point, what was that? 5. So $2,293.50 then. And then 455 times 450.
$2,502.5.
So $2,502.50. So if we want to find the total monthly rent for those 3 stores, we're going to add all those numbers together, right?
Linda,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get that answer for the second or the last one.
No, I didn't do it. Let me see what I get. 455 times $4.50. Nope, I didn't get that answer either.
Oh, times 550, sorry, my boo-boo.
Good thing you're paying attention.
Yes.
2047.5. Is that what you got? Good, that's what I got too.
What did-
So now if we add them all together,
7,311.
7,311? I see some nods. All right. Most of the time on the word problems, the calculators are active because really what they're trying to see is, do you know, should I add, subtract, multiply, how do I get my answer? If you really wanted to do it on your paper, you could. But if you want to use your calculator, I have no problem with that. So that should be the next things under the decimal.